4 years ago, this man sat in this exact room and told me a machine could do my job better than I could. Today, he's asking me to save his company. His name is Gregory Cole, CEO of Vantage Logistics, 900 employees, 40 years in freight. And he still doesn't know that the AI he replaced me with has been bleeding his clients for 3 years. I know. Because for 9 years, I was the reason it never happened. Let me back up. Tuesday, 9:40 in the morning. My manager walked over and said, "Hey, Chief, got a sec? Conference room B." There was a woman from HR in there I had never seen before in my life. She had a folder. My name was already printed on the tab. That's the part nobody tells you. The paperwork is finished before you walk in. Cole was on a video call. He didn't look at the camera. He said one sentence, and I've replayed it maybe 10,000 times since. We're transitioning invoice audit to an AI-first model. Effective today? Not, you're fired. Not, we're letting you go. Transitioning. Like I was a software license. 11 people. 11 minutes. Same room? Same folder? Same sentence? I asked one question. I said, who's going to catch the mistakes? Nobody answered. I don't think anyone in that room knew what I meant. I went back to my desk and my email was already logged out. Mid-sentence. There was a message I never got to send, sitting behind a password I no longer had. My badge stopped working while I was still standing in the hallway. 9 years, 12 minutes. They gave me a box. An actual cardboard box. I thought that was a movie thing. Here's what 9 years fits into. A mug that says, "World's okayest dad." A photo of my daughter, Nora, 8 years old, missing a front tooth, a phone charger, a stress ball from a safety seminar in 2019. Security walked me to the lobby, not because I was dangerous, because it's policy. And on the way out, I passed the banner they'd hung in the atrium the week before. Big blue letters, Atlas, the future of freight, automated. That was the name of the thing that took my job. Atlas. I stood on the sidewalk at 10:05 in the morning, holding a box. Everybody else was at work. The whole world was at work. And I had no idea what to do next. So I drove home. Let me give you the numbers because the numbers are the story. Salary, $71,000 a year. Severance, 6 weeks. Rent, $1,850 a month. My car's transmission died in week 3. After that, I had $312 in checking, 214 applications, 5 months, 4 interviews. In one of them, a recruiter told me cheerfully, "Honestly, we're consolidating that role too." It wasn't that I lost a job. The job was disappearing. Everywhere, all at once. The worst moment wasn't the layoff. It was a Wednesday afternoon, grocery store, sweatpants. Nora looked up at me in the cereal aisle and said, "Daddy, do you work from home now?" And I said, "Yes, sweetheart." Something like that. Then I went out to the parking lot and sat in my car for 40 minutes. I didn't cry. I just sat there. I started learning AI that night. And I'll be honest about why. Because everybody lies about this part. It wasn't passion. It wasn't vision. It was spite. I wanted to understand the thing that beat me. 11 at night until 3 in the morning. 5 nights a week. I was slow. I was bad at it. I'm not a genius from Stanford. I'm a guy from Toledo who was good at spreadsheets. But around month 2, I noticed something. I understood the problem better than the engineers who built the machine. Here's what I actually did for 9 years. Trucking companies send bills. The bills look perfect. Clean numbers, real dates, correct format. And some of them are lies. The AI could read every invoice, $40,000 a month, flawlessly. But it couldn't read reality. Here's a real one. A carrier billed us for 4 hours of a truck waiting outside a warehouse. The paperwork was perfect. Atlas approved it in half a second. But that warehouse closes at 4 in the afternoon, and the charge was stamped 6:47 at night. There was nobody there. There was no truck. There was no gate to wait at. I knew that. Because I'd been there. Because I'd pick up the phone and call the driver. Atlas doesn't call anybody. That was the moment at my kitchen table at 2 in the morning. The AI didn't take my job. It took the easy 80% and quietly deleted the other 20. And the other 20% is where all the money was. So I built something ugly, a spreadsheet duct taped to a script. It crashed constantly. But it did one thing. It flagged the charges that weren't just wrong. They were impossible. And then it asked a human one question. That's the whole product. AI that knows when to stop and ask. I called it LedgerHawk. I tested it on a friend's company. 1 month of bills. It found $9,000 that never should have been paid. He looked at the screen and said, "How long has this been happening?" I said, "Since the day they turned the humans off." My first paying customer was Rita Bergen, Bergen Tool and Supply. Toledo, Ohio, 19 employees. $49 a month. I used to run reports on accounts worth $200 million. And I sat in my car outside that warehouse and cried over $49. Because it wasn't $49, it was proof. 14 customers, then 60, then 400. When it was time to hire, I made 2 calls. One was to my old manager. The one who walked me to conference room B? They cut him 6 months after they cut me. The AI-first model doesn't stop at your department. He said yes in under a minute. People ask if LedgerHawk is anti-AI. It isn't, it is AI. It's just AI built by somebody who actually did the job. Atlas was built to remove humans. LedgerHawk was built to aim them. I didn't build a startup. I rebuilt my department. And this time, I owned it. Here's the thing about invisible leaks. They don't stay invisible. Year 3. One of Vantage's biggest clients ran LedgerHawk against their own history. 3 years back, $2.1 million in charges Atlas approved. That a human would have caught in an afternoon. They didn't call to complain. They just left. Then the next one left, then 5 more. No scandal, no lawsuit. That's not how these things die. They die on a Tuesday, in a budget meeting, when somebody circles a number and says, "Why are we still paying for this?" Vantage automated the part of the business that made money and kept the part that cost money. And the only guy who could have told them that was standing on a sidewalk at 10:05 in the morning, holding a cardboard box. Email came on a Thursday. Subject line, long overdue. Marcus, big fan of what you've built. Would love to grab time. Coffee my treat. 4 years earlier, this man could not tell you my name. He called me Chief. I typed back 4 words. Conference room B works. Same building, same glass, same chair. I brought the mug. He slid a folder across the table. An offer to buy LedgerHawk, $31 million. He said, quote, "Let's bring this home." And I said no. I told him I wasn't selling him mine and I wasn't buying his software. I'd take his clients, the ones who hadn't left yet, and I'd hire back every person he cut. Every name on that list. I still have that list. He laughed. He said, "Marcus, you can't be serious." I stood up. I picked up my mug, and I said, 4 years ago, you told me a machine could do my job better than I could. You were half right. It could do the parts that didn't matter. The AI didn't take my job. It took the part anyone could do. What it couldn't take was the 20% that only lived inside my head. The part I was never even paid extra for. Every one of you has a 20%. Find it. Before somebody hands you a box. If this story hit you the way it hit me, do me one favor. Tap that subscribe button and go watch the next video right now, because your climb to the top starts the moment this one ends.